What are the best banks for NRIs in India? NRIs are frequently looking for good Indian banks for their foreign savings. Some people want to buy a house in India or just keep money in India for their vacations, and then or some people are always planning to return back to India and they just want a good bank in India for their foreign savings. Because one thing is you would like to keep your money in rupees, but also in other foreign currencies, like you would like to hold it in dollars or pounds or euros and so on. So for this there are a number of different accounts. You can have NRE accounts, NRO accounts. NRE accounts is non-resident external accounts. So this is where the money is fully repatriable. When you put money into an NRE account, though it's held in rupees, it can be directly converted back. I mean, you can actually use your NRE debit card and you can use it abroad. So it can be directly converted back to your foreign currency. So that is NRE. So it's fully repatriable. You can even move the money out of an NRE back abroad. And then there is NRO, non-resident ordinary account. So this is where you hold your rupees, and you can use it for all the local transactions in India. Okay, and there's also the FCNR, which is again foreign currency, non-repatriable. So this is where if you can put your money away for about a certain amount of money away for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, then you earn a much higher interest rate. So that's why you put it in an FCNR account. In some cases, if you were to use that money for education, it is possible to move it abroad in special circumstances, but generally it's non-repatriable. And so as we discussed, there's one bank is IndusInd is one of the good banks in India. One good thing I've found is they have good interest rates, one of the best interest rates, and their customer service is also quite good. And then their online portal is nice to work with. It's quite intuitive and easy to use. And it was started in 1994 by Sri Chand Hinduja. Another good thing about IndusInd is it is possible to open an NRE or an NRO account at IndusInd. Even if when you're living abroad, you can send the documents and then just work with someone at the bank and open your NRE or NRO account, and then they courier you. They will ask you to send copies of your documents. You can courier it to them, and then they can courier things back to you and stuff like that. And another bank I've found that's really good in India is SBI, State Bank of India. It's of course one of the largest public sector banks in India. One good thing is it's a relatively safe bank. It has a 200-year-old history of providing banking services, and they have a separate dedicated NRI banking section. SBI, the safe is the best part of it. They do have a dedicated NRI section, but it's not always possible to reach the NRI person on the phone. But if you go directly to the bank, you should be able to work with them and get things done. And then of course there's a IDFC First Bank. It's a relatively newer bank which was started in 2018 by the merger of IDFC and Capital First. So one good thing is, like, once you open an NRE account in IDFC, they'll assign you a personal relationship manager, and anytime you have any issue, you can just call up your personal relationship manager and they'll be able to immediately help you out. This service is quite good, customer service at IDFC. That's one of the good things I really like about them. And then once you get into the bank, immediately you have the front desk. There are people there who are there to answer all your questions and any issues that you have. Either they try to help you out with them, or if they can't, then they immediately get somebody from the back office to work with you and then provide you with additional service. So there are actually these banks. The main thing is a lot of the issues I've found with some other banks. Some people are comfortable with some banks more than others, but some issues I've found with HDFC, Axis Bank, and a few others. Some things I've found which are not there in these banks which I've described just now. One thing is sometimes the customer service sometimes you have to wait a long time, just 45 minutes just for some very simple basic things. And that's one thing which that's one thing I've found in HDFC at times. But then another thing with some banks is they're very pushy when they market their their newer financial products. They can get very pushy and aggressive. And it's always good to, I mean, most banks, if you have a good relationship with the branch manager, then you can definitely work around all these problems. But the problem I found, one of the things with HDFC is the minute you form a good relationship with the branch manager, that branch manager has moved somewhere else, and then you have to work with a new branch manager. And this goes on and on. So that can be quite frustrating. And another thing, I would say probably Axis Bank, KYC process is quite unfriendly. Sometimes what happens, they say, hey, you have to fill your KYC forms, and then you fill it, you send them copies of all the documents, or I go directly to bank, submit all the documents, and then suddenly, for no reason, even after all the KYC documents have been submitted, they come back and say head office or something just puts the account on hold, saying you didn't submit your KYC. So there's quite a bit of disorganization in some of the other banks, but overall, if I see IndusInd, IDFC, SBI, they don't have generally these kinds of issues. Of course, other than SBI, there are also other public sector banks which are good, like Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank. These are also nice, safe banks to work with. Of course, not all public sector banks are good, because if you just take Punjab National PNB, they've had all those scandals. So, in any case, always do your own research and make sure you're comfortable with the bank. And not all public sector banks are good, but definitely State Bank of India, Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda are relatively safe banks. And then you have the let's talk about the minimum balance. One thing is, minimum balance is generally about 10,000 for these NRI accounts, and about 5,000 for an urban branch, and for about 5,000 for a rural branch. Whereas SBI has one of the lowest minimum balance requirements. It's only about 3,000 for a urban branch, then a semi-urban is 2,000, and 1,000 for a rural branch. And Bank of Baroda is minimum balance is just for 1,000, not dollars, this is rupees, because we're talking about Indian NRI and RO accounts. So in SBI it's 3,000 rupees for a urban and 1,000 for a rural branch, rupees. And minimum balance generally in most of the other banks would be about 10,000 for a urban branch, 10,000 rupees, and about 5,000 for a rupees for a rural branch, like in a village and so on. And then, so minimum balance, if that's something of concern to you, this is you can look, because if you're not sure, okay, let me try out this bank for a while, and if I like it, I'll put more money in it, otherwise not. So in such situations, minimum balance definitely becomes quite an important thing, because you don't want to put lakhs of rupees into some bank which you're not sure if you're going to bank with in the long term. So definitely, wherever you bank, always try them out for a while, see if you like everything, and then build a more long-term relationship with them. And then there's the other other cadre of banks, like you have these international banks like HSBC, Citibank, and so on. So they generally have minimum balance itself will be about 1 or 2 lakhs, and then but of course they do provide all extra premium services like VIP airport lounges, and then some travel discounts and so on. And as far as the online portal goes, I've found the IDFC and IndusInd, their online portal is quite intuitive and easy to work with. Whereas SBI, it has all the functionality, but it takes a little bit longer getting used to the portal, SBI Internet Banking. But one good thing is, despite the fact that SBI has such a large customer base, they do have a very secure online platform, and then they take a lot of extra measures to keep things secure, which can sometimes take a little bit longer to work with. And same with Canara Bank. And some of the documents that you need for opening your NRI, NRO accounts, one is you'll need your passport, then you'll need some photographs, and then your visa, wherever you're living, or a work visa and so on. and then your PAN card. So these are all the, and of course you'll have to fill the KYC and some other forms. So that's what you'll need to actually open your bank account. And some things like, so if you want to decide, do I want to keep my money in an NRE or NRO, one good thing about NRE is, just supposing you decide at some point, hey, I want to buy a house for my parents, or I want to just buy a house to have an investment or a rental income in India. And so you take your money and you keep sending money regularly to an NRE account, and then you buy a house in India. Then it so happens later on you decide, hey, I don't have maybe long-term plans in India, I want to move my money back. Then you decide to sell your house in India. And if you can actually show, if you have all the documents to show that the money which you put into the NRE account, and the NRE account was actually used for funding, for buying the house in India, if you can prove all this, then you will be actually, upon selling the same house, any money that you get out of it, you can put it, with this documentary evidence, you can put your money back into the NRE account and even move the money back abroad. So it's fully repatriable. So that's the main advantage of an NRE account. So NRO, of course, you use it for all your local transactions in India. If you have rental income, you could put it in your NRO, non-resident ordinary account. So and in addition to this FCNR, and there is also some fixed deposits that are available for NRIs. I haven't looked at them a whole lot, but so this is another way that you can, fixed deposits are a nice way for you to earn a little bit higher interest than what the regular NRE or NRO account. But the most popular are generally the NRE account, NRO account. In some cases, some people use the FCNR account as well. So, and in any case, whenever you bank in India as an NRI, just go with your, try out the bank for a while, and also go by your personal preferences, because for some people higher interest rate is the most important thing. For some other people, they say, hey, I'm not going to deal with the bank much, so my higher interest rate is what I'm really interested in. But some people say, you know what, I really want to I want to be comfortable with the bank because I'll be working with them long term. So customer service is the first priority, next comes the interest rate. So depending on your personal preferences, choose the bank that you like and try them out for a while, and then really stick with the banks that work best for you. In any case, do your own research and then find out, because in different cities and different towns, your experiences could be slightly different as well. So well, all the best in your search for good NRI banks in India. And thank you so much for watching. And if you like this content, please do share, like and subscribe. And for similar content, please do check out the articles on desimomhacks.com.